The evening session, Nelson County Board of Supervisors. We're going to open up public comments. No one has signed up. Is there anyone that would like to speak during public comment? Look at that. We're going to head right on to public hearings. The secondary 6-year road plan. Mr. Brown, would you like to talk to us about that?
Okay. You all have previously received a draft of the 6-year plan and proposed of the FY 27 through 32. Nothing has changed on that. Nothing has changed on that. It is as was presented in the draft. I'll be glad to answer any questions that anybody has about it, if you have any.
Any questions, concerns for Mr. Brown?
Don't have any. Nope.
I have
Okay.
none.
Prepared
Shall
to make
we-
a motion when you're ready.
Well, no, we gotta do the public
I'm
hearing.
sorry.
It's all right. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna open public hearing. This list is devoid of names as well. Is there anyone that would like to stand and speak? Seeing none, hearing none. Close the public hearing.
Madam Chair, I'm prepared to make a motion when you're ready.
I'm ready to hear it.
Madam Chair, I move we approve resolution R 2026-40, Nelson County Board of Supervisors approval of FY 27, FY 32 secondary 6-year road plan and FY 26-27 construction priority list.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I got a question.
All right.
Never mind.
There you go.
Are you sure?
Proceed. Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
I had
yeah,
resolution 41 in front of me and thought that maybe it was the wrong one, but it is. That one's for later.
Okay. Just to clarify, resolution R 2026-40. All right.
Thank
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion, further discussion? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing none. That is done.
We should probably, while he's here, revisit the afternoon.
If you don't mind staying,
Let's just
okay.
do it now.
All right. You want to come up and talk to us about what VDOT is doing in Nelson County?
What we're doing?
Yeah.
We're getting ready to start the small scale project at Route 29 and 653 Oak Ridge. I sent an email out today about to kind of give you all a heads up on the schedule.
Detour.
653 will be closed, I think, beginning June 1, possibly for 2 months if it takes the contractor that long to regrade the connection and get it reopened. But that is the allowable time that VDOT's gonna allow them to close the road. After that, it has to be open, or either they get a distance, that some liquidated damages for not having it open. But that was just a way to make sure that that was done during, when school was out, so it wouldn't affect the buses and all. We do have, we have not started our secondary mowing in Nelson County. They should start pretty soon. Our contractor is mowing in Appomattox, Campbell, and Amherst. And he will be up here probably in the next couple of weeks to start mowing secondaries. We are gonna start mowing the primaries, 4-lane primaries, the first week in June. They should see some spot mowing in places where we might have sight distance issues, like down at Colleen at 56 intersection. That should be mowed here pretty quick. We're trying to keep that mowed down, knocked down pretty good. We are still in full blown pipe replacement mode in Nelson County. We've replaced a lot of pipes, and we will continue to do so. Rural Rustic, we are working on trying to finish up Davis Creek at 623 over off of 29. We've got all the major structures replaced over there. They are replacing smaller culverts. we should be ready to lay stone here very soon and get that project finished. That's drug out for a right good while, but that was a pretty good undertaking. They had a lot of large drainage structures over there that we have to replace. Once we get through with that, we will move to Hunting Lodge, down in, I guess that's your,
Jesse's.
That's fine.
your area. We're gonna move to Hunting Lodge, and start on that one. So that's kind of our plan for the next, rural rustic unpaved road projects. Other than that, I'll be glad to answer any questions you all may have.
You might, what's graduation date? You might know,
15.
15th?
Friday. This
Wow,
Friday.
wow, that's fast. Okay, I guess there's no
Well,
site distance problems right now.
We'll get checked out. They usually mow, when we do we usually mow all that whole corridor in there. When they do 56, they check the elementary school connection and the high school. We are going to furnish, put out some message boards. I think school superintendent or somebody asked us to put out some message boards for graduation. And we certainly agree to help out with that with some traffic event ahead messages. So we'll have those out for graduation.
If we could get a link to some information for the public on the upcoming May 27th meeting, a link to something on the website. I know that's not your area, but we haven't gotten anything yet, correct?
I know we have a meeting next Tuesday. It just got scheduled with them, so we should have more
Yeah.
following that. We got that from Kelly while we were in this afternoon session. So.
Seems like a big meeting for as little preliminary communication as we've had. I mean, I would, we need it soon, so sooner the better.
And that is,
Because honestly, I know this isn't your area, but I swear I think we're promoting and pushing that participation in that meeting more than VDOT is. That's the feeling I'm getting. I don't know. I just feel like it's kind of.
that's the one at the,
27th, Nelson Center, 5 to 7,
Nelson Center. Yeah.
Arcut, and Rockfish School. Arcut.
I'll share that with our project.
Thank you.
With our project management team, and they can do whatever, they can help you out with that. Any information, advance information.
Very good.
Yes.
Thank you.
Jesse, do you have anything for him?
Thank you for all those pipes that you were replacing in my district. It was like 7 of them. So we feel them as we drive. You can pave over them whenever you want. You can pave over them whenever you get the
Yeah,
chance. That'd be nice.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Lanahan?
No, well, on the Rockfish School lane, the turning lane there, how soon do you think that'll start?
I mean, we're taking applications now, right? It's round 7 smart scale. You are looking at, you're looking at 8 or 9 years.
Oh, really? Gotcha.
Best guess. I mean, it's a 6-year plan that'll be funded in the end of the 6-year plan. Submissions this year, that won't, round 7 smart scale will not be reflected until we get into our FY28 revised 6-year plan, state
Okay.
6-year plan.
Gotcha.
So that next year plus 6. I mean, it could be a little earlier than that.
Okay.
It definitely won't be in the next 6, maybe 6 or 7 years. But that project's pretty simple. It shouldn't be a whole lot of complications there.
Seem like people that's coming down that hill, these newer cars, they just don't have turn signals anymore. They've got to put them in there.
And that's 45.
Yeah.
That's 45.
Anyway.
Mr. Reed?
Nothing, we talked, we're good.
I actually had very little correspondence in reference to VDOT this month, so congratulations. Thank you for all you do.
Okay, all right. Is that it?
Yeah.
Yep.
So y'all have an additional that other resolution, would you like me to hang around for that? The 41? Because that is where you just approved the rural rustic design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, do you want to just vote on it now? Move that up to the front.
Sure, I'll entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I move we approve resolution R 2026-41 as presented.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Drive safe. Okay, proposed FY 26-27 county budget.
Go red.
I know.
Not all slides.
Okay.
Good evening, this is the public hearing for the fiscal year 2026-2027 budget. This covers July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2027. The presented FY 27 budget is based upon budgetary information at the time of the public hearing advertisement. State budgetary decisions are still pending, which will affect the final general fund budget and the school division operating budget presented for the board's approval. The school division budget presented is based upon the original Senate recommended budget proposal. One important note, the FY 27 draft budget authorized for public hearing was based on a real property tax rate of 57 cents. On April 27th, the Board of Supervisors voted to establish 56 cents as the 2026 tax rate effective January 1st, 2026. The preliminary budgetary impact of this is a reduction in estimated real property tax revenue, recurring contingency funds, and year-ending balance, which means an overall budgetary reduction from the public hearing draft budget. The budgetary figures of this public hearing will be adjusted before final budget approval. All tax rates shown except for the transient occupancy tax are levied per $100 of assessed value. Real estate and manufactured housing or mobile home tax rate is 57 cents per $100 of assessed value. 2026 was a reassessment year with values increasing 31.5%. The Board of Supervisors initially authorized a tax rate of 57 cents per $100 of value, a decrease from the former 65 cents per $100 of value. As I previously stated, on April 27th, the board adopted a tax rate of 56 cents per $100 of value, which is effective January 1st, 2026. This is an effective tax increase of 11.14%. However, it is important to note that individual property taxes may increase at a percentage greater than or less than this percentage. For a tangible personal property tax rate, that is $2.79 per $100 of assessed value. This has been unchanged since 2022. This yields an anticipated revenue of about 6.5 million for FY 27, an anticipated increase of 4.6% above the FY 26 amended budget, and an anticipated increase of 1.7% over the FY 26 projected budget amount. The machinery and tools tax rate is $1.25 per $100 of assessed value. This also remains unchanged since 2022. The revenue yield is estimated at 75,000, which is unchanged from what was budgeted in FY 26. The transient occupancy tax rate is 7%. This is also unchanged from FY 26. Revenue yield is estimated at just over 2.7 million for FY 27, an anticipated increase of 5.2% above the FY 26 amended budget. While evidence suggests a decline in short-term rental bookings, collected TOT revenues continue to be strong. However, these fluctuate depending on economic conditions throughout the year and will be monitored. This shows our various budget funds. The county's fund accounting system tracks budgetary and financial activity. The board is considering proposed budgets for each of the funds listed. The general fund often supports other funds, as is the case with the school fund and the debt service fund. A brief overview of the two largest funds, the general fund and the school fund, will follow later in the presentation. The capital fund is reserved for capital projects. Funding for construction expenses of 2 such projects is included in the FY 27 capital fund budget. The first is the Department of Social Services building project, funded at $5,014,141. This amount is for the remaining project costs, primarily construction. The second project is the Nelson County High School renovation project, funded at the remaining balance of $8.9 million. The remaining funds are generally project-oriented or related to an enterprise operation, such as the Piney River Water, Sewer, and broadband operations. Compared to the current year budget as amended through February 2026, the proposed general fund budget reflects an increase of $4,020,150, or 7.67%. The budgeted revenues and expenditures are balanced at $56,454,296. We'll get into our proposed revenues. Local revenue consisting of general property taxes and other local taxes make up 80.5% of the overall budgeted revenue. Total anticipated local revenues are $45,458,288. State revenues account for 9.5% at $5,373,117. Federal revenues account for 2.3% at $1,272,003. The year-ending balance of $4,350,888 in FY 26 makes up 7.7% of total revenues for FY 27. This includes FY 26 carryover funds of $3,472,155, consisting of projected FY 26 expenditures being $995,605 less than budgeted, and projected FY 26 revenues being $2,476,547 greater than budgeted. Within that projected revenue amount, $1,990,021 is attributed to incorporation of 16% of the increase in 2026 reassessment revenue. The adopted real property tax rate of 56 cents will affect the year-ending balance amount that is ultimately included in the FY 27 adopted budget. FY 27 local revenue, again, makes up about 80.5% of the total general fund budget of $56,454,296 at just over $45.4 million. This is a 10.7 increase over FY 26 local revenue of $41,064,754, representing a total increase of $4,393,535 in additional FY 27 revenue. General property taxes of $32,993,537 accounts for 72.6% of all local revenue. This figure is based upon the proposed 57-cent real property tax rate used in drafting the budget for public hearing. Of these local revenues, real estate tax, public service tax, personal property tax, and mobile home tax are each anticipated to increase in FY 27. The result for this category is $3,997,160 more overall revenue in FY 27. The majority of this amount is slated to be allocated to school division operational funding. Real estate tax is anticipated to increase by about $3.5 million in FY 27 due to retention of 16% of the 2026 reassessment growth in values and slight natural growth estimated in 2027. Most other local revenue categories anticipate increases or a minimum level funding. Local sales and use taxes are expected to increase by $184,487, and recordation taxes are projected to increase by $15,000. Meals tax is expected to increase by $28,762, or 1.8%, while lodging tax is anticipated to generate an increased 5.2% in revenue for FY 27. Projecting $135,620 overall increase due in part to higher than budgeted FY 26 projections. An increase of 19.1% or $161,098 in EMS revenue recovery fees for ambulance transports is anticipated in FY twenty-six as compared to the FY twenty-six budget. This is expected to remain at the same level of $1,005,098 in FY twenty-seven. New ambulance transport billing rates became effective in January 2025, and this revenue helps to offset costs associated with having two 24/7 career EMS service crews who work in conjunction with volunteer services. A decrease of 21.1% or $70,464 in port fines and forfeitures is estimated in FY twenty-seven due to an overestimation of these revenues in FY twenty-six. For FY twenty-seven, a slight increase of 5.6% or $14,000 from the FY twenty-six projections in port fines from traffic enforcement has been budgeted at $264,000. A conservative estimate of interest earnings of about $1.2 million reflects an expected increase in invested fund balance due to the incorporation of a 16% increase in real estate taxes from the reassessment expected in FY twenty-seven as compared to FY twenty-six budgeted, and a 7% increase or $88,000 from the FY twenty-six projected collection. Interest rates are uncertain over the next year, and declines may offset the increase to the general fund balance expected during the upcoming year. Right, estimated state revenue is currently 9.5% of the total general fund budget in FY twenty-seven. The General Assembly is still completing their work on the state budget, which affects revenues the county receives from the state. The proposed budget contains best estimates and may be adjusted once the state finishes its work. FY twenty-seven state revenues are shown to be higher by 2.74% or $143,540 from the FY twenty-six amended budget, at 1.35% or $71,484 higher than the FY twenty-six end of year projections. This is typical, as many state grants that are received in one fiscal year are received or not received in the following fiscal year, or are not budgeted until they are awarded or received during the fiscal year. State grant funds that will be appropriated as they are received in FY twenty-seven include asset forfeiture proceeds, 4-for-Life grant funds, fire program funds, and various other grants. The budget includes state reimbursements of shared local expenses for constitutional offices, reflecting the state's share of a 2% salary increase and a $1,500 bonus for full-time employees of state-supported local offices effective July 1st, 2026, which means an approximate equivalent increase in salary and benefit reimbursements from the state compensation board is expected for their proportionate share of covered positions. Federal revenue makes up 2.3% of the total FY twenty-seven general fund budget. Generally, federal sources include social services funding, Children's Services Act or CSA funding, the payment in lieu of taxes relative to national forest land located in Nelson from the U.S. Bureau of Land Management, and various federal grants. Many federal grants that are received in one fiscal year are received or not received in the following fiscal year, or are not budgeted until they are awarded or received. The decrease reflected here is primarily due to a 5% reduction in federal reimbursement for Department of Social Services costs due to slightly less estimated overall expenditures in FY twenty-seven as provided by DSS. A slight increase of 0.14% or about $1,500 is estimated in FY twenty-seven as compared to FY twenty-six projected reimbursements. The non-local portion of their budget is funded by 60% with federal funds. Local, state, and federal revenues and non-revenue sources together with prior year ending balance make up all projected revenue supporting the FY twenty-seven proposed general fund expenditures. All right, so next we'll get into the proposed expenditures. Compared to the current year budget as amended through February 2026, the proposed general fund budget reflects an increase of $4,020,153 or 7.67%. This change is primarily due to the FY twenty-seven increase in the transfer to schools and retention of funds and contingencies and planning for future reductions in state funding for the schools. Additionally, the change is due to overall inflationary increases including salary and benefit costs and capital outlay expenditures, some of which are expected to be offset by grant funds. Total FY 27 general fund expenditures equal revenues at $56,454,296. And looking at how revenue dollars are spent, this graph shows major categories of expenditures as a percentage of the total budget. The largest category of expenditures shown is education at 38%, representing $21,520,918, including $2,004 for PVCC and $600,000 as a transfer to school capital for the purchase of 4 buses. In addition to the $21,518,914 allocated to the Nelson County Public School funding for FY 27, the county will contribute debt service payments for schools in the amount of $1,852,617 for a total of $23,371,531. This total has been increased from the FY 26 total due to the first full year of interest payments on the BPSA bond for the Nelson County High School renovation project. The FY 27 county support for the school includes funding for 4 school resource officers from the general fund budget. This cost is included in the public safety category at approximately $322,000, of which the county has applied to receive partial state grant revenue funding in FY 27 at $23,345.
For reference on a historical point here, Ernie, you remember when we first started getting these and they were all grants? And then they slowly took all the money away. Just FYI, Cameron.
We had 2 last year, another position that was grant funded, but we tried to apply again, but
Yeah.
they
what
have a
happens.
maximum number of years they'll fund us, so. So we still have one. So the balance of $298,503 for the school resource officer salaries and benefits is fully funded. The largest expense within the general fund is $21.5 million, or 38% of the total budget for the school division. Next is public safety operations at just over $10.1 million, or about 18% of the total budget. This category includes the sheriff's office, public safety and emergency services, dispatch, the EMS council, E911 program, forest fire service, paid EMS, the regional jail, building inspections, animal control, and the medical examiner. Third is the governmental operations at just under $8.9 million, or 16% of the budget. Included are general government and judicial administration, public works, parks and recreation, and community development. Next are health and welfare at 8% and the debt service transfer at 6%, which helps cover debt service payments in FY 27. Next are refunds and unallocated contingency reserve of roughly $3.3 million, which make up 6% of the general fund budget. Capital outlay is budgeted at 4%, or just over $2.5 million. Agency and non-departmental at 4% includes the remainder of the FY 25 COVID-19 American Rescue Plan Act funds of $128,138, which are unrestricted and can be used for any purpose. Also included in non-departmental are the proposed employee salary and benefits increases associated with a 2% raise and 7% increase in health insurance premiums, as well as employee bonuses. These costs will be allocated to departments throughout the year. Some of the expenditure highlights. A 2% cost of living increase to salary and benefits for full-time and regular part-time employees is included. A 2% compensation board salary increase for constitutional officers is included in the current annual budget effective on July 1st. Additionally, a one-time $1,500 bonus for all full-time employees and a $500 bonus for all regular part-time employees is included. The $1,500 bonus for state-supported local employees is pending approval by the governor. Health insurance premiums for FY 27 increased by 7%. Overall VRS employer contribution rate is increasing from 10.77% to 10.78%. Short-term disability rates are increasing from 0.74% to 0.79%, And group life insurance rates are decreasing from 1.18% to 1.6%. 1.06%. 5 new part-time positions are proposed and funded for the new Parks and Recreation after-school program. The budget includes 4 school resource officers, 1 is partially state grant funded, and the grant continuation is pending approval. Regional jail cost increases of 16% are largely due to the debt service on the Albemarle Charlottesville Regional Jail renovation project. The county's 5-year average census decreased from 16.32% in FY26 to 15.88% in FY27, causing just a 2% increase in operating costs. The 5-year average census determines the percentage share for each member jurisdiction. The budget includes operational funding to provide 80% of the cost of a tanker truck for Piney River Fire Department and the remount of an ambulance on a new chassis for the Nelson EMS. Also included are emergency communications and 911 center upgrades expected to be covered through PSAP grant funding, replacement of Sheriff's Office mobile data computers, full funding to the Nelson County Emergency Services Council as requested, and the purchase of 4 sheriff's vehicles and equipment. The budget also includes contribution increases to the following agencies: Nelson County Health Department, Nelson Local EMS Council, Nelson County Community Development Foundation, Thomas Jefferson Soil and Water Conservation District, Thomas Jefferson Planning District Commission, Jefferson Madison Regional Library, Foothills Child Advocacy Center, OAR Community Corrections, and the Central Virginia Economic Development Partnership. Capital project funding includes $300,500 reserved for schools and $5,014,141 in estimated remaining construction costs for the DSS building project. Miscellaneous capital outlay, aside from those items included for public safety and emergency services previously mentioned, includes Sturt property set aside, a skid steer for the transfer station, building inspection department repairs, and the Larkin water source investigation. Total capital outlay funding is $2,560,990. Transfers are the transfer of general fund monies for other purposes. Transfer funds include funding set aside for the Department of Social Services, the VPA fund, the reassessment fund, the debt service fund, and for school nurses, school buses, and school operations. FY27 transfers total $27,093,450. Also included are contingency reserves of $3.2 million, with $415,300 generated from non-recurring revenue or carryover, and $2,822,704 generated from recurring revenue set aside primarily for use in future fiscal years. Non-recurring contingency funds are best used for one-time expenditures. Recurring contingency funds can be used for one-time expenditures without impacting future operations. The FY27 school fund is $34,321,376. The FY26 school fund approved budget based upon an enrollment of 1417 compared to the FY27 advertised budget based on an enrollment of 1362 reflects an overall increase of $441,896 or 1.3%. In addition to local operational funding of $21,518,914, an increase of $835,065 over FY26, the school division also receives revenues from other sources, state, federal, and other, which is comprised of reimbursements for field trips, dual enrollment, and telecommunications rebates, etc., projected at $609,114. State funding included here reflects an anticipated decrease of $921,082 and is based upon the original Senate recommended budget proposal. Regular federal funding included here reflects an anticipated decrease of $114,611 for FY '27. The local funding amount and total here differ from the advertised numbers. Those advertised numbers were accidentally overstated. As noted previously, one of the largest components of the general fund budget is the local contribution to schools. Including debt, total support for schools is about 52.1% of local funds within the general fund budget, which equates to 41.9% of the total general fund budget. The local contributions to school operations, transfer to school capital buses, and the school nurses for FY '27 is funded at $835,065 more than in FY '26. For school resource officers are funded at just under $322,000, with, again, that $23,000 in state grant funding pending approval. The county will also fund $1.8 million in existing school-related debt. With estimated FY '27 school enrollment of 1,362, the proposed level of local funding of $20,918,914 provides a per pupil local expenditure cost of $15,359. FY '27 local education funding coupled with state, federal, and other funding for schools of about $12 million yields a total cost of $32,956,441, or $24,197 per pupil in FY '27. The local composite index is the state's formula for determining a locality's ability to pay. The higher the index, the lower the amount of funds received from the state. Nelson County's LCI for the 2026 to 2028 biennium is 0.7269, which means that the county pays 72.69% and the state share is 27.31% for standards of quality programs, incentive programs, categorical programs, and lottery funded programs. Enrollment also contributes to the amount of total funds received. Enrollment for FY '26 was 1,417, while FY '27 is projected at about 1,362, a decrease of 55 students. The LCI is expected to increase again in the 2029-2030 biennium, resulting in an anticipated reduction in state funding for schools of approximately $4 million for fiscal years FY '27 to FY '30. The major categories of expenditures shown here are based upon state funding as provided for in the original Senate's FY '27 recommended budget compared to the FY '26 requested budget. This is an overall increase of $1,182,684, or 3.5% above the FY '26 budget request of $33,794,259. The FY '27 proposed school division budget includes a request for an increase of $2,255,556 in local funding due primarily to increased expenditure projections and decreased state, federal, and other funding sources. The increased expenditure projections include salary enhancements, a 15% health insurance increase, startup funds for a middle school sports program, and two new positions for early childhood education. The Board of Supervisors has allocated $600,000 in new local funding for the purchase of 4 buses in FY '27, included in the transportation expenditure category, funding total expenditures of $34,321,376. The Board of Supervisors provides the local contribution to the school division. However, the school board and administration decide how those funds are allocated for expenditure within the school division budget. In addition to this operational funding request, all debt service costs associated with the NCHS renovation project will be fully funded through the debt service fund. The total remaining project cost is estimated at approximately $9 million and is accounted for in the school division capital fund budget. To conclude, all the funds that make up the county budget are denoted here, totaling just over $114.9 million. This differs from the advertised public hearing number due to correction of the school fund amount, as I previously stated. Additional information regarding each fund has been provided in the handouts, but should you have any questions or want further information, we will be glad to provide that to you. Per state code, the board must wait a minimum of 7 days following the public hearing before adopting the budget. This being May 12th, the board may adopt the FY 27 budget as early as May 19th, 2026. The board will conduct additional work sessions to finalize the budget proposed for adoption and appropriation by the end of June. These will be scheduled and publicly noticed once they have been set. This concludes the FY 27 budget presentation. Thank you.
Well, can't vote on anything today.
Thank you, Grace. Any questions, comments, concerns for her while she's in front of us? Nope, that's it.
Yes.
Nope.
All right, so on the school, when we take and we fund them, are we gonna fund them in two lump sums instead of one lump sum, like we discussed earlier? Last month.
I know that was discussed, but no conclusion was arrived at that I'm aware of, unless I missed something, but, typically we would appropriate it all in one lump sum, and that's how we do the whole budget. But you can do it in other increments if you so choose.
I don't remember talking about that.
Yeah.
We talked about investing it.
Oh,
The, let's see here, the capital fund for the school. You said that we could invest, what was it, like $9-10 million left over there so far? That was, it was appropriated but wasn't paid out yet.
The 984,000.
No, it was in millions. It had 2 commas in that. Where the heck did it go? Project fund, remaining balance of $8,909,000. You said we were able to invest that and draw interest, but it can only be allocated towards school projects, correct?
Correct. We are earning interest on that.
We are earning interest. Are we able to use that interest towards, let's say, building offices in the Alpha Wing?
I believe so.
There's
That's
some
what
pretty
we-
strict.
Yeah, there are some strict rules about that, but we contacted our bond counsel not too long ago about that, and he seems to think that it's likely we could use that interest for any other school capital projects.
That's sweet.
And we'll certainly reconfirm that, but
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
he told us.
I guess dumb question, to Cameron's point on this. If we give the school the funds in a lump sum, do they earn interest with that money?
I think it's all within our same bank.
So it just stays in the general fund anyway?
Yeah.
Okay. So how do they get allocated money? Monthly? Like, do they, like in construction, we would request for a draw. Is that what they're doing?
No,
We just, at the beginning of the fiscal year, we do our transfers.
transfer to them.
Yeah,
But-
it's transferred at the beginning of the fiscal year, and then they spend it down
I see.
throughout the year.
But are they at least earning interest with that 21 million?
Yeah, it's all in the same bank account pot, like Grace was just saying, so it's all
Still
earning,
getting
whatever's
it.
in there is earning the interest.
Some interest. I see.
It stays in the general fund.
So basically what I'm hearing is there's no advantage to us doing it in 2 installments because the interest, number one, is already being earned by somebody. Number two, whatever's earned has to go to the schools anyway. So there's no advantage. It's not like if we keep the money
Yeah,
back,
yeah.
half of it for half the year, it's not like we get that interest to use. It has to go to school projects anyway, correct?
Well, that's only for the
Bond.
bond
The
fund.
bond
balance,
funds, not this money.
Not the
Okay.
regular funds.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha, gotcha.
Okay.
For the bond funds, the 8.9, they do draw down that. So that the rest of that is earning interest through the BPSA.
Just want to make sure everybody's growing.
truth. Any other questions, thoughts? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn and continue.
Wait a minute.
Oh,
Establish the public hearing.
Yeah.
Or you gotta open the public hearing.
Right.
wait, what?
Yeah, she presented for the public hearing.
Oh, duh. All right, we will open our public hearing for the county budget FY 26-27. I was just going to skip right ahead. This one also has no one signed up. Anyone want to speak? All right, we're going to close the public hearing.
Madam Chair, I was going to suggest that we do continue this meeting to May 26th at 5 o'clock.
Are we gonna revisit the, motion that we
Oh,
put off this afternoon till this evening? Are we gonna do that tonight?
Alpha Wing
Alpha Wing.
investigation.
Yeah. Might as well. I don't have the motion in front of me.
I mean, Madam Chair, would you?
I'm ready to entertain that
All
motion.
right, well then I move that the school division administrative offices be designated to relocate from their current space at the courthouse complex with the school division to further explore, study the high school Alpha Wing as the preferred long-term relocation option, with the study to include rough estimates, timelines, and potential financing options, with the board's commitment of local funding to cover the cost pending receipt of a cost estimate for this work from the school division.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I would suggest an amendment to postpone the decision until we have access to some of the information that was discussed in closed session.
I don't know if it would.
Which
change.
means I would table this for now. I would ask that we
I don't think there's
I don't think it
consensus.
would-
of
I guess
anybody
that's not, that I
interested.
can't really amend it to say no. So I guess I can't really do that.
You could vote no.
I could. I just, you know,
You
because,
technically could motion. to
yeah,
table it.
because that was presented with the hope that it would be additional information for which we could make such a decision.
Well, they're just gathering information as well.
Okay, but then we don't have to. Anyway, that's my statement.
Second. Are we good? Second.
We have a motion and a second. We're in the discussion phase. Any other comments? I feel like we have to roll call vote.
Alright. Mr. Reed?
No,
Mr. Park?
Yes.
Mr. Rutherford?
Yes.
Mr. Linehan?
Yes.
Dr. Lee?
Yes.
Madam Chair.
One other thing I would like for us to be prepared to discuss when we get together next time is, could we have an update at our next meeting on Cover the Caboose? I've received some direction from one of the contributors to that account that has asked if there's not a decision by December 31st actually moving forward with the project, they respectfully request their money be refunded.
Sure.
That's a 3-year project that when it was undertaken was supposed to be done in less than 10 months.
Madam Chair.
Third time's a charm, Jesse.
I would like to adjourn and continue this meeting to May 26th at 5 p.m.
Second.
All right, motion is second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?